All right, welcome in another Tuesday evening. Scotty Questions here, the Questionable Podcast. I'm here with Meko.
What's good, man?
And Gionne.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, Gionne, on the West Coast, right? We got Meko here. He's not here this evening, which is all good, but I miss him, in the basement here in the studio. Gionne on the West Coast. How's everything on the West Coast? How's the weather?
It's fantastic.
Oh, okay. Anyway, there's a lot to get into tonight. We have a lot of, I'm blowing him off tonight. We have a lot of free agent moves, lots of Lions topics we can talk about. DJ Chark, DJ Chark. So we got, I'm excited about that. We get a lot of things that happen, a lot of signings, re-signings today, which we'll get into. But I want to welcome everybody in. Please like, follow, and subscribe the Questionable Podcast on all the podcast channels and also on YouTube. Please follow and subscribe on YouTube. We are posting these not live, but we are posting them on YouTube. We are going to get live at some point, so we're very excited about that. And then another big announcement: we got the Game Over D-Max sweaters and T-shirts happening. We're gonna launch these with McCarty next week. Well, this weekend, but we're gonna be on site the 26th in Royal Oak with Mac, and Claude Lemieux will be there. So it's going to be
Wow.
quite epic. So this is
cool.
This is the hoodie.
For those of you watching on YouTube, you can get like a sneak peek of the hoodie by going to the YouTube channel, and Scotty's showing it off right now. So it's going to be like, we're pretty excited about it. We can't wait to get it out to all of you guys.
Yeah, so it'll be Game Over series. So we're gonna do. The idea is, and we'll tease it. There's a Game Over part, and there's another part which we will not tell everybody. We don't want to take our idea. But this Game Over series is going to be the old Wings having won and some famous photos, and again we're gonna elaborate on this and continue to grow it. So we're very excited to continue to work with Darren McCarty, Nick Nucci, and crew over there at DarrenMcCarty.com. McCarty's an old friend. McCarty is the reason why I am called Scotty Questions and why this is the Questionable Podcast, and so on and so forth. So that is a story. Maybe I'll save it till the end for those that want to listen in. But Meko, am I forgetting anything about the new launch?
No, that's about it.
Okay, well, I hit it.
So,
nailed it. Yeah. Okay, nailed it. All right,
Nailed it.
So anyway, again, that's a 26 Royal Oak, 5th Avenue. Darren McCarty is going to be with Claude Lemieux. It's a 25th anniversary. They will be watching the game, replaying the game, commenting on the game. There should be a couple hundred people there at least. It should be exciting. I'm very happy to be able to participate in that. And so,
where in Royal Oak it's going to be?
5th Avenue,
5th
bar
Avenue. Okay.
and restaurant. I think it's just.
I was going to say what venue could house that many people.
5th Avenue can house 250 people.
Okay.
So nice. I'm sold, which means you could probably squeeze in 3 hundo.
Yeah. Don't tell the
Pretty
fire
sure
marshal.
You do need to buy.
Don't tell
the fire marshal.
Well, fire marshal or the health department. Anyway.
Also worth keeping in mind that I think you do have to buy a ticket to this event.
Yes, you do have to buy a ticket at the door.
So
probably.
I'm just saying, if you're showing up, just don't be surprised if somebody asks you for a ticket.
That's fair. 100%.
Anybody being like, I heard on the Questionable Podcast I could come to this, and being like, no, we ain't say that.
What?
Nobody
they would have
that.
the hundreds of people that would show up.
Hold on. If somebody shows up from listening to this, the Questionable Podcast, if you're listening to this and you show up, password is Scotty Questions. If you say that, I will pay for your entry. Scotty Questions. I'll pay for them to show up.
Scott is a man of his word in these,
I will do that.
These things.
Or Meko, should it be a better password?
Well, you've already said it. You can't take it back.
I don't know. I like
confuse things. Scotty Questions is the
Scotty
password.
Questions. Say Scotty Questions at the door. I will pay for your entry. I myself personally
love it.
Not the company. Scotty Questions will pay for your entry.
Let's go.
Right. Clarify that, right? Okay. Anyway, all right. Try to get that following rolling here. Oh, Miko's gonna post this on social. Shit.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely about to post this now. I gotta cut that out and post that. How else are people gonna see it?
We're gonna have like 40 people there. Anyways, All right. So staying on the Red Wing topic. I do want to touch on Mo Seider real quick. He is atop of the Calder voting, which is Rookie of the Year. Lucas Raymond is second, and Trevor Zegras is third for the Anaheim Ducks. So that's amazing. We 1 and 2. NHL.com paneled their writers, and Seider got 70 voting points. So 13 of the 15 voted him first. And so breaking down his points real quick, Lucas Raymond 2, Zegras 3. Mo Seider has 41 points, 36 assists, 17 power play points, 116 block shots, 96 hits, and 5 goals. His average ice time is 23 minutes and 2 seconds. So he is fourth in total points compared to all the rookies, offense and defense. To me, that is amazing. Now, a couple weeks ago, Meko asked me if I thought that, was it Moritz or Lucas? Meko, I can't remember.
I just asked if you thought any of the Wings could win it.
I said no. Either. I said no because Trevor Zegras was on a roll, and he sensed that it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Since that, he's gone cold, and so in the voting, right, for the points, Seider had 70. Second was Lucas Raymond with 42, and then Zegras with 41. So he is by far the top candidate for the Calder Cup. So that is, I was wrong, but gladly wrong there. But that's a little summary I wanted to mention. And side note, which I don't think a lot of people know, Claude Lemieux is Mo Seider's agent.
Really?
That's a weird twist.
That's partly why he'll be in town. I know. Like, flip it back to us seeing him next weekend. So I did not know that. We found that out. That's kind of why he's in town. But also it's very cool. So interesting, small world. So anyway, that is the summary of Seider. And I think that's amazing. I think that he should get it. It's fantastic that a defenseman is going to get it. Typically, it's offense and forwards that get that award. So, in having said that, John, I know you wanted to compare this a little bit to Pistons up and Wings down, and you had a couple questions. Do you want to touch on those real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that kind of the past couple of weeks, we've seen a bit of a role reversal between the Pistons and the Red Wings, not necessarily in performance, but certainly in terms of engagement, excitement, entertainment value. A bunch of videos were posted to Twitter and social media about Little Caesars Arena, absolutely packed. Raucous crowd cheering on the Rookie of the Year, potential, possible, probable Rookie of the Year, Cade Cunningham.
Right?
And it's just like everyone's having fun. It's just like shades of 2004. Not to say that the team is there, but the fan engagement, the fun, the energy level, the entertainment, it's there, folks. Go down, watch a game.
How awesome would it be if we had 2 Rookie of the Years?
That'd be incredible. I mean, that's just like the future. I mean, that just sums up
a statement.
That just sums up, where we're all at. I mean, Tigers, Lions, Red Wings.
We're going to talk about the Lions in a second. I think the Lions are poised to hopefully have a better season and are heading in the right direction.
Yeah. That said, the Red Wings a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, it looked like the Red Wings were overperforming. We knew that they were a young team, very young team. But they were winning a bunch of very key games, and that excitement was there, and it was there. And then now we're talking about Blashill's failings. We're talking about a slide, losing streaks, and Darren McCarty shared that video that I definitely saw of. I think it was a timeout of Blashill talking to the team, and the team just could not care less that their coach was talking to them. They were talking amongst themselves. It was
well, you're not seeing the response you should be seeing from a coach's timeout. Correct.
Yeah.
And my only comment, go ahead, Meko, and then I just have one.
I was gonna say I would wonder if these guys have hit a wall, like a young team hitting a wall and just being like, you played with your hair on fire for like the first half of the season.
Well, 75%
second half of the season.
Yes. To your point, I was sorry. Go ahead, and I'll finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you play that much of the season with your hair on fire and you're trying to like, muster and tough out wins. And I think eventually like that can only get you so far, and eventually when in a season where you're playing 80 plus games, like you're probably taxed by this point. Not that it's an excuse, but I just wonder if that plays a part in what's happening with the Wings lately.
I think, and so John, to your comment of, are the Wings like overperforming? I think the Wings actually are good. I think they played 75% of the season very well. And yes, I think we're having a young team getting exhausted and using everything up front in the season through the All-Star, past the All-Star break, and then just, we're having a fall off. But I think the team is good. I don't, and overperforming, maybe a little bit, but they played well for a majority of the season. You know what I mean? You have to give them that.
Right. And that was kind of my comment. It was overperforming earlier in the season led everyone to think that, oh, hey, maybe they're farther along. They're better than we thought they were. And then now that this very like kind of reasonable kind of return from orbit kind of happened, we're like, oh, they're not as good as we thought they were.
Yeah. Okay. But I wouldn't call it overperforming. I would just.
You wouldn't call it. You wouldn't really, because I would say that I think offensively they overperformed. I think they overperformed in such a way offensively that it covered up their deficiencies defensively. And I think now we're starting to see like those deficiencies show up this late in the season where, I mean, the game tonight, they gave up 3 goals in the first period. Like it's not there, and they're not getting, because of like how much they're giving up defensively. I don't think they have the energy and the ability to kind of replace that offensively. Like again, talking about like maybe if they're a little taxed, like you just don't have that well to dip into like you did early in the season.
Yeah.
Last question on this same topic, comparing the Wings and the Pistons. We kind of talked about who is set up and where we expected them to be. Last year, Pistons, again, they were very exciting. They were a very entertaining team. And the kind of the general consensus was, oh, we just need a playmaker. We need this. We need a big, we need a star. We got that in Cade Cunningham. And it seems like we're kind of in the exact same place of we're sort of bottom of the pack. Oh, we need another person. Is that fair? Or is that I don't know how the NBA draft works. Are we going to be high in the draft? Are we going to be able to get a person to aid Cade? So are both of these teams set up for future success the way we thought they were last season? Aid Cade.
You lost me at aid Cade. I went to Kool-Aid to oh yeah, and that's it. Like Cade Aid, Kool-Aid, Cade Aid, Kool-Aid. Done. Sorry. It's blue. It's
so I would say
Kool-Aid too. Gotta be blue Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I would still say that this team they're still a piece away, right? So to answer your other part of your question as far as like how the draft works, like it is a lottery system. So by the way the season's been playing out, I think the Pistons are still like second worst team in the league. If not second, they're probably third, with the like right behind the Magic and the Rockets. So yeah, they all have odds of getting that first overall pick. And obviously like the thing that's going to be nerve-wracking, because it's a lottery system, is like, okay, you could potentially have the second or third worst record in the league, but like you could probably end up with like a top 10 pick instead of a top 3 pick. So like that's the only thing that's like nerve-wracking.
Okay.
Is will the Pistons draft high enough, to get somebody that can potentially assist Cade? I think my thing with the Pistons right now, how we were just talking about with the Wings, like I think we all think the Wings are good, right? We feel like what we've seen in the first 75% of the season shows us that they have the talent and the ability to go out there and pretty much play with everybody or with anybody. I don't necessarily know if I feel that way about the Pistons. I don't think I feel that they could go out there and play with anybody. And I know
that's fair. I would agree in me watching the games. At just the end of the games, we fall off. We're not.
Yeah, and part of it's being young, but there's another part of it where it's like talent in the NBA is so evident, right? Like there's a huge gap between, as of right now, there is a gap between a Cade Cunningham and a Steph Curry. Like you can see it.
Yep.
And so there is a part of it where it's like, okay, this team needs to gel. They need to get a little bit more time under their belt. But there is, like I've talked about it in previous episodes, I do feel like there's a lack of talent in certain areas. I think Cade and Sadiq and Marvin Bagley have been showing that they can be the guys that this team will be able to lean on in years to come. I think there's like a little bit of a question mark around some of the other players. I think Hamidou Diallo is a great bench player. I think he's energy off the bench. I think Isaiah Stewart could potentially be a really good bench guy, something similar to like a Montrezl Harrell, to people who know basketball, Montrezl Harrell or Marcus Morris type of player. And then everything else is like a question mark. Like I think we're still trying to decide if Killian Hayes is good or not. We're trying to decide if Jeremy Grant's going to be traded or not. And then the rest of the bench is like, it's a who's who. Not saying that you need like names, but it's just, I don't know if I would count on those guys again going up against some of the top tier talent that's, you know, in the NBA right now.
For sure. That's fair. I'd agree. So, John,
that was it. I feel like
I'm in and out of the internet, so I apologize if you guys can't. So that's why I feel like I'm delayed.
No, you're good. No. So okay. For me, I think it is a little bit of a role reversal in just like energy. I don't know if it's necessarily like energy, and I do think it is expectation. I think the closer we get to the end of the season, I think Piston fans just want to see Cade win Rookie of the Year.
There you go.
And I think that's the thing that they're holding on to more than anything. I think the Red Wings, the Wings have been a team collection of like guys for so many years. And even if like Mo Seider ends up winning the Calder Cup, like we'll be like, obviously fans will be happy and excited, but people want to see the team do well. Like not just one individual guy, I guess, do well.
Sure. Meko, I agree, Meko. And I think that the biggest win of the season, other than knowing that Blashill's not the guy, yes, called that the defense is an issue. Yes, we called it from day one. But the biggest win is that the fans have and are engaged again, and we have gotten comfortable with Little Caesars being our home after, you know, letting go of the Joe. Like being able to hear the fans like boo and cheer our team and everything, whether we're booing the Wings or we're booing the other team. I mean, we figured out how loud to be at Little Caesars. We've made it our home. And to me, the biggest win is that, and the fan engagement and being able to have everybody again come together, watch the games and believe in the team. And now I think we expect to win. We expect to see progression next year, which is very exciting. And, you know, I just think that to me, the biggest win was winning the fan base over and being an exciting Red Wing team. And again, growing expectations, right? Like we've talked about, the Wings, right? They overperformed, but I think they're that good. They're young, and they've, you know, they started the season fast, and they've kept that up for 75% of the season, and they're just tired. They really are. They don't, you know, so, and with that, right, that's why Boston caught up to us, right? We were 5 games up on Boston, or 5 points. And we had 1 week off. Boston is a more mature and veteran team that caught up and surpassed us in 1 week. And so then after that, the Wings like, oh boy, we can catch them. And then we had a couple bad games. And that's like, well, there goes the season. And that to me is a sign of a young team. And so that's something that I think they will learn from. But again, I think the main win, the biggest win is the fan base and how we can hear them on, you know, on the TV, and Mickey and company commenting on that. So anyway, so having said that, I think it's time to move on to the Lions. The Lions have a big day today. Meko, can you kick us off with what the Lions did today, other than DJ Chark, which I like a lot better than Robinson. I like Chark, but there's, you know, a couple question marks. But what happened today, Meko?
Yeah, so obviously the free agency tampering period started, I believe it was yesterday. So kicking off today, though, the Lions kicked off today, I think, with a big bang, because yesterday was kind of a quiet day. They re-signed a couple guys, Evan Brown, Sean Dion Hamilton, you know, a couple of other like reserve guys. And then today was kind of their day. Alex Anzalone got signed yesterday as well. But today was the big day, and that was pretty much led off by DJ Chark, which that was the big body receiver that I think everybody knew that the Lions were going after. It was just a matter of whether or not it was going to be Allen Robinson or if it was going to be somebody else. And it turns out that it's DJ Chark on a 1-year, $10 million deal, able to go up to $12 million with incentives and things like that. And so me personally, I like that was the highlight of today. Followed by, the Lions then went on and re-signed Tracy Walker.
Yeah.
Which is another huge get for them. And then they also followed that up with re-signing Charles Harris and Khalif Raymond to deals as well. I guess my biggest question to you guys after like digesting all of the free agency deals so far, obviously in the early parts of this free agency, how are we feeling about this collection of players? And how are we feeling about Brad Holmes and how he's approaching free agency at this moment right now?
I feel pretty good. John, go ahead though.
I'm feeling good. I
don't know what hesitation there.
There was a little hesitancy there, but but that's only because and I keep coming back to this thing of the immediacy of all of these things and how we all very often need time to kind of reveal or to kind of judge these things as beneficial or not. Brad Holmes very often said step one, when Jeremy was on, we talked about this. Brad Holmes had said, step one is change the culture. Did check that box. Step two is the player acquisition phase. That doesn't mean it's going to all happen all at once. Like this isn't the player acquisition week. And so I think, and I think that's something that a lot of people need to keep in mind who may or may not be disappointed with who we've gotten, who we've retained, that this is a phase and phases last, this is probably going to be a 3-year thing. And I think the pillars of the team will be taken via the draft. I think the pillars, the foundation of the team, Penei Sewell, DeAndre Swift, granted he wasn't a Holmes acquisition, but Amon-Ra St. Brown on the receiving core, Penei Sewell on the O-line. I think McNeil and Onwuzurike together may hold down that defensive line. The foundations of the team are going to be taken through the draft. I think the guys through the free agency, I think the philosophy may be one big splash and then kind of raise the floor with floor raising guys, maybe not necessarily high ceiling guys, because as we saw with Jacksonville completely obliterated the market. I mean, so like, the guys that you wanted to get may now be may be unavailable. Devontae Adams is probably going to be close to 30 million a year now. Certainly north of 20. So
north of 23.
North of 23 for sure. So, does that change their strategy? Did that have any impact? I can't imagine it didn't. And then the Ravens signing Marcus Williams, who a lot of us had our eye on, is a safety prospect.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So is the idea now through free agency, get high floor guys, maybe not necessarily high ceiling guys, maybe not elite guys, but high floor guys, and then you get your stars through the draft? I'm leaning towards that's maybe the plan here.
Do you think the stars in the draft are going to be pillars this year, or are you saying future pillars?
Again, going with the phase, I think we all will be much more mentally healthy if we take a longer term approach to what they're doing here, because I think they, Holmes and Campbell came in on 6-year deals. So I think 3 to 5 years at least. I think pillars of the team? Yes, within 3 years. Like, again, Derek Barnes,
Okay.
I think is the perfect example. He showed flashes of what he could be. He still needs a lot of work. I think in order for him to be like a starter, dependable starter guy, he needs to take a huge step. And that's not to say that he can't make that step. I think he definitely does take a step up, but I think it'll be another year before he is who we thought he could be. And so, yeah, there you go. Boom.
What about you, Scotty? How I know you were pretty upset about the Marcus Williams whiff, but how about what the Lions were able to do outside of that?
Okay, I don't think it's a whiff. I just want to make sure, and we don't know. I'm hoping they made him an offer or talk to him, right? I just really hope that they try to pursue him seriously. So to me,
those were all the reports that came out, was that the Lions were in on him. So I'm assuming they at least talked to him and at least put an offer forward of some kind.
Yeah, it was just too rich for our blood. I mean, that's expensive. That's a lot of money, but we need the help. Like, so I think that Brad Holmes is not ready to go there yet, right? He wants to see what he can get in the draft. And then I think next year he's going to have to start making moves for big time players, big money players. I think that he wants one more draft to see if he can get guys on the cheap, right? He's got DJ Chark on a 1-year prove it deal, right? I mean, everything he signed is really kind of more low key than big splashes, right? Like Amon-Ra St. Brown is nothing right now, right? Peanuts, right? Like, so the idea is if you can get a couple more guys for peanuts, like that really sets us up to spend money in the next couple years, right? So if we can rely on John. So to your point, yes, hopefully they are pillars, if not this year, next year. If he can get 2 more players that are starters, I mean, just think Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra. If he can get 2 more, I mean, we have 5 picks in the top 100 this draft.
Yeah.
I would expect him to get 2, if not 3, that are starters or contributing a lot. So if he can do that, right, and we can continue to build this team, I think that the Williams thing to me, I thought was a miss, but that's expensive. I could understand Brad Holmes pulling back and be like, "Now we'll wait and see what we can do in the draft." Right? There's help there, and we'll see next year. I mean, I understand it. I just don't love it, right? But I'm happy with DJ Chark for sure. I think that's was a good call on a prove it deal for what, 10 million? It was like 10,
guaranteed.
Like
10 million guaranteed.
3 mil incentive potentially.
2 mil. Yeah, 2 mil incentive, so he can get up to 12.
I mean, but that's a prove it. The guy's been injury prone. He broke his ankle last year, 4 games in, but he's got great numbers when he plays. Guy's got great numbers. I mean,
with subpar quarterback play.
Darn near a touchdown a game, right? When he's playing, it's like every game and a half he scores a touchdown. I mean, I'll take that all day long with Gardner Minshew, right?
Yeah. So
did that
answer you guys
through the internet?
Absolutely
success?
Yes. Yeah. I think my biggest takeaways from free agency so far, like I'm really happy about the DJ Chark pickup. I wanted Allen Robinson, but like taking DJ Chark is a nice alternative. He's younger, same size.
And Robinson's old. He's 29, right? 30,
28. So he'll be 29. So
okay,
not nearly as old, but he'll be. I think he'll be 29 this upcoming season.
But Chark is cheaper too. I think that was a smart GM move. I'm with you on that. I think that was a smart sign.
So I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate with this in a second, because before I get to that, I do want to give Brad Holmes his flowers on a couple things, and that is DJ Chark. I want to give him his flowers on that. I want to give him his flowers on re-signing Tracy Walker. I thought that should have been a high priority for them to do, because not only do I think Tracy Walker took a huge step this season, I believe that he's a leader in the locker room and he wanted to be here. Even before his press conference.
His interview was hysterical.
It's amazing. And it's a true testament to the culture that they've implemented here.
Right.
So the fact that Tracy wanted to be here, I thought that made him a high priority signing on top of everything that he was able to do on the field as well. I'm happy about them re-signing Charles Harris to a salary cap friendly deal. I'm like middle of the road on like the actual signing itself. I could have went either way with him being on the team and him not being on the team. And then everything else is kind of a mixed bag of like emotions as far as how I feel.
Sure.
I'm actually kind of like, I was pretty happy and surprised about the Evan Brown signing. I was surprised that they were able to keep him because dude stepped in for Frank Ragnow and I was like, that dude's gone. Like he played outstanding. And I was sure somebody was going to throw a bag at him and he would have been gone. Right. So for them to be able to retain him is also, again, a huge tip of the cap to Brad Holmes. Where I'm going to play devil's advocate, though, is in what you guys were both kind of alluding to as far as being patient, building through the draft, and all of that. I'm not technically opposed to that. My question becomes, are either of you concerned that becomes a negative stigma against the Lions, that they are the team that will not pay guys? Because as of right now, everybody's on contract-friendly deals. Everybody's on the cheap, and they haven't necessarily broken the bank for anybody. And so when it comes time, like we're saying, maybe it's not this offseason, maybe it's next offseason, and it comes to you wanting to be able to get those high-profile players, you have no track record of paying anybody. You have a track record of kind of going bargain bin shopping. And is anybody's agent necessarily going to take you serious if you're not willing to break the bank open occasionally with the right people? I would argue that Marcus Williams, being 25 years old, was somebody that I think we all would have been somewhat okay with if they would have went out and been like, we're paying him $16-17 million. Like, he's proven that he's worth that.
Jared Goff's deal over this year? Is this his last year on his contract? Or
yeah, they got to figure out if they're going to re-sign him or.
So that's.
I mean, so I
think that's fine.
I think like they're on the hook for I think like $22 million this year, and then after this year it drops drastically.
Okay, so I think that's part of it. I think they know that they got to figure out quarterback, and they need to save some cash for that. Whether they got to get somebody or they're gonna like I feel like that. I think that yes, Meko, you have every right to be concerned, but I think Holmes will drop a bag if he needs to. I think, and this is where I wonder: are they going to pick Hamilton at 2? When they don't get Williams, they didn't go after him. Do they plan on, is he high on their board? Like, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. But I'm just saying, like, a sign of, okay, well, we'll just take Hamilton at 2. Like, no, we need Tibbs. But like, could that be a sign? I don't know, maybe. But I think Brad Holmes has a plan. I'm really truly believing in this because it seems to me like he's methodically going through this. I don't think he's doing crazy things like other GMs. And so I'm trusting in the process. No, seriously, trusting in the process. About? Well, I'm talking about that con artist that was Quinn and, like previous GMs. I'm just saying like,
I am not accusing Brad Holmes of not having a plan. I am wondering if this plan backfires. I believe that this plan has that type of ramifications where
That's fair.
Because again, even the guys that they put on 1-year deals last year, and they re-signed like Khalif Raymond, Charles Harris, Alex Anzalone, all got brought back. All of those guys were on 1-year deals the year before. None of them got like a ridiculous payday. None of them.
I also think this is like the inverse of like the bad team tax, in that like Jacksonville just spent, what was it, $114 million on Christian Kirk and Zay Jones because they're the worst team in not a fun city to play in. Like, so, I still think they overpaid certainly for Zay Jones, but they're the bottom of the barrel team in not an attractive city. So like you have to pay sort of a quote unquote tax for that. And I think Detroit is in a similar situation right now. I'd like to think we have a more appealing city than Jacksonville, Florida.
So you're saying
now I think with the schedule, and I've been on this for a while, with the schedule we have, I think we can get anywhere between 7 and 10 wins next season.
Oh my gosh, you've heard it here first.
Well, you've heard it here first a month ago.
I was gonna say, yeah.
we play 7 teams with first-year head coaches. We play the Jets, the Giants, the Dolphins. I mean, every kind of pretty much every bottom of the barrel team. So I think if we can win the games we're supposed to win, and we come out of next year with between 7 and 10 wins, and we're not last we're not last in the NFC North, and we have cap to spend, and we're sort of seen as one of those teams that's like on the cusp. We have the cap. We were bottom of the barrel. We're getting better. Guys like Tracy Walker, dude, come here, play for the Lions. It's amazing. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, these coaches are incredible. The atmosphere, the environment is great. Then I think you will see Brad Holmes. Then we're ready to spend because we're not really paying the bad team tax anymore. Then I think you can kind of see Brad Holmes break out the checkbook and say, yeah, no, we weren't ready last year. We are ready now. And I'll prove it to you. Here's our offer.
And again, that's very much possible. And it's not like I'm saying there's a laundry list of guys that they should have paid. I think Marcus Williams is the biggest outlier right now. Like, hey, you probably should have paid that guy. I think
it's a lot of dough.
If DJ Chark,
what did he get?
The thing that's scary
was it 5 years,
70 million. Yeah,
a lot of dough.
The thing that will be scary next year again, because if a guy like DJ Chark balls out like crazy, we just saw what the market is set at. So you're going to pay a higher premium next year than you would have paid if you had given him a long-term deal this year.
Yeah, but don't have to. What if we have a Jamar Jefferson rookie come in? Like, fine, later, Chark. Like, I'm just saying, there's two sides to that coin.
But right now we don't have that on the roster, right? What we have right now is DJ Chark at $10 million, and if DJ Chark stays healthy and goes out there and puts up over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, you're going to be on the hook. I would more than you would have had to pay.
I would love to be on the hook for a wide receiver doing that, though. I would rather do that than have to find one or like draft one. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
the question just is, I just mean in the sense of, again, what you could have paid him this year and then what you may have to pay next year, or what the expectation is going to be. Because like I said, while you re-signed a lot of guys, you didn't necessarily like imbue and put a lot of confidence out there that like, hey, if you ball out and we like you, we're also going to pay you very well. All you've basically said so far is that like, hey, if you ball out, you at least can come back here and play.
Well,
that's kind of what they've said so far.
Well, because per Tracy Walker's interview, he was saying, because that question was asked in the interview, right? They asked him, what, like, it seems like everybody's coming back and you were a 3-win team. Why are they signing people? And I think his response, Meko, correct me if I'm wrong, was like, a lot of the guys were off the street, weren't playing, like shouldn't have been playing, and are playing well. And so it was a year for them to prove it. And some of them proved it and will be even better. And he said, I'm looking at tape or video from guys that really weren't as experienced last year. And now I'm looking at video, like watching them come out of their routes, like, oh my gosh, like look at these guys improve. So he's saying,
I would argue
that's what his, I mean, and that's to respond to you is what he said. I don't know, but
I would argue that again. So yeah, because the question that I think Tracy was specifically asked was like, hey, you guys are bringing back like a lot of the same guys,
right?
Where's the optimism in that essentially? And I think he was like, well, we're developing, like these guys are developing, these guys are getting better, which is true. The question becomes, though, again, like the thing we're going to find out this year is like with a guy like Charles Harris, is he getting better? Like, has he finally hit his stride and he's actually getting better? Or did he capture lightning in a bottle for a season?
Right.
Is Khalif Raymond actually a weapon that you can use? Or is he somebody that you pay and then Quintez Cephas comes back and he's like, nah, I'm still about to be out here on the field?
I hope so.
Right.
I hope there's a competition. I hope there's a healthy competition. But you're 100% right.
So my concern is to that point, though, since you brought it up about them bringing back so many guys and like what does that look like? Like, yeah, there is, I think, a level of concern that like, hey, you're bringing back all these guys who played on a 3-13-1 team. Now you're getting some guys that are going to be coming back from injury. In addition to these guys, the question just becomes like, we've had this conversation before. Right now, in the way it seems, with just what they've done on these last 2 days of free agency, they are definitely choosing culture over talent, over like impact, immediate impact talent.
Yes,
right now.
Correct.
Right now. We still got to see how the rest of free agency plays out and if they bring in anybody else who could potentially make a splash. I believe, again, this is something that could potentially backfire on Brad Holmes if you have a repeat. If you have a repeat of this season, this is going to be a very bad knock on. You chose culture over talent.
You don't win more than 3 games. I mean, you don't win.
This is a bad look.
That's true.
And I think that's where you're kind of seeing a couple fans, and even myself, like I'm a little like I'm not out, but it's a huge risk that I think some of us are like kind of keeping our eye on, like where it's like, okay, there's a possibility of some improvement, but I think a lot of people would feel a little bit better if there was like 1 or 2 additional like big signings. And I think that's probably going to have to happen.
He's certainly putting a lot of pressure on himself.
Meko, drop the mic.
As a drafter. I think I think that was a great point. But yes, like he's definitely putting a lot of pressure on himself in his abilities to draft well. With these periods so far.
Perpetual tryouts for the Lions. All season, just tryouts.
And I think again, you'll get some guys that'll take that, right? You'll get a guy like DJ Chark who like, man, I only played 4 games last year. I was really hoping to
and then he'll demand a ton, and maybe he'll go somewhere else, and maybe we have someone that can fill his shoes. And if we don't, we have to spend the money and sign him. But if he proved it, fine, we can validate spending the money. At least he did it on our team, and so on. You know, I think that's fair. I do believe, again, I'm going to lean and kind of hope that Holmes knows what he's doing. And in my opinion, I think he's trying to build it, quote unquote, the right way, with the base of the culture first. And if then you could bring the big free agent talent in to fit the culture, match the win, you know what I mean? Like, and to John's point of like, if we're winning, guys will want to be here. So I think I think Meko, again, it's trying to get so many things to come together at the same time. Like, I can't imagine having that role in it of an NFL team. You know how hard that is. All the
I mean, I can imagine
he's got to deal with, like, good and bad. But I think, and I will hope that he's doing it the way, and he has a vision for this. And I'm hoping this is the, okay, we're going to take it easy on free agents. You're going to build the squad, draft. And then next year 3, they're going to have to start bringing in, people, if we don't have them, to fill the spots, to be that talent so we can win. I mean, their jobs are on the line. What do they have? 5 or 6 years. They still have to win.
Well, like John said, I agree with that statement that, again, he's placing a big bet on himself as far as being able to draft well. And the way this team looks right now, like, you're going to have to. You've only signed 1 guy that was not on this team last year.
Right.
You've only signed 1.
Yeah.
And again, this is just the start of free agency. So like John said earlier, like, this is not to hit the panic button, but the longer this process draws out, the longer you start, and the more you see other guys get signed, you just start wondering, like, how in the mix are the Lions, and what are they coming to the table with? And unfortunately, there's not a lot of faith to be put right now in what we've seen. In like, okay, well, it doesn't look like they're doling out cash. Whether that's the right or wrong answer right now, it's just like, that is at least something that we know for sure right now, just from looking at free agency. Like, they're definitely not looking to get into bidding wars with people. And only, to John's point as well, I guess we'll find out once the regular season happens, if that was the right decision. If it turns out not to be, if they're not able to get a premier safety, or if they choose the wrong safety, whether in the draft or free agency, and then you're just like, man, like, well, should they have doled out that 16-17 million for Marcus Williams? You start kind of wondering those various things. And I'm with you. I'm hopeful that the plan that he has in place works out in his favor, but I'm also not going to be blind to the fact that like it is a huge risk that he's taking. I think that's also something that has to be acknowledged as well.
Agree. And I'm only laughing, Meko, because I just got a notification on my phone for close game in the Red Wings, and I'm like, oh, okay, 6-5. How many goals can these guys in a high school football score again? It's like
these guys can't go into a game and not give up 5 goals.
No, we can't. Which is actually, I don't know if Nedeljkovic or Grice is in goal, but regardless, I know the defense like sucks, but like goaltending, like yo, you have to make some saves too. I said like Ned was our guy, but I want to see what this guy we drafted looks like at this point. Like Deal Grice,
young guy though.
What's that?
I said it's another young guy though. It's another
even
rookie
younger. I'd rather go. I mean, see what he's got at this point. What does it matter? We're giving up freaking 6 goals. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I just thought you get a kick out of that. And Ovechkin is in 3rd place for all-time goals, right behind Gordie Howe. Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, and Ovechkin now just passed Jaromir Jagr. And John loved Jagr. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I was a big Penguins fan.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So,
anyway, so back to
one thing. I have family there. No,
I just wanted to tee you up. I have family there. It's family.
It's familial.
I feel like you have to like. Yeah, I feel like you do have to like justify that on this podcast. Otherwise, people are going to be in our comments like Penguins fan.
Well, especially like a Penguins fan in the 90s.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't go well.
Yeah, no.
So
I will say the very early late 80s, very early 90s. Then once the Russian 5 happened, then you
came to your senses.
Yeah. But one thing before I gotta go, one thing I did want to touch on is something near and dear to my heart, the Questionable Podcast Conspiracy Corner.
Oh, here we go.
I want to get back. I want an update on everyone. I'm taking this as confirmation. I know I'm biased, but I'm taking this as confirmation that Meko was right. If our loyal listeners know what Meko's thoughts on Kayvon Thibodeau and the Combine, we've gotten some more breadcrumbs that he was right in that the Jags franchise tagged their left tackle Cam Robinson and signed Pro Bowl guard Brandon Scherf. And so they beefed up their O-line in free agency. Who had been routinely mocked to the Jags at the number 1 spot was Neal, O-line. So now that they've beefed up their O-line in free agency, it's looking more and more likely that the Jags are going to take Hutchinson, which makes it more and more likely that the Lions are going to take Kayvon Thibodeau at number 2.
Or Hamilton.
I mean, if you keep saying that it happens, if you're gonna keep saying it, you better be happy about it when it happens.
I don't.
Don't. It's so LA, but you're gonna manifest. You're gonna manifest this into existence.
So LA.
And
that's so LA. You accidentally said it earlier. I'm just playing around, having fun. I don't think we should take Hamilton, but they might, man. I don't know. It's not.
No, I don't. I don't think they will. Not with Thibodeau there, and not with them admittedly going to a more 4-3 scheme. And
people are still. Go ahead, John.
Well, and they need pass rush help. Like it's just
exact. Yes,
it would not be.
It's such a huge need, and like talking about pillars, O-line, wide receiver, pass rush. And then if they can get some other guy at 32 or 34, whether that's another wide receiver, whether that's linebacker, whether that is a safety, maybe not Hamilton, but premier safety at 32 or 34. Like you said, Scott, earlier, got 5 picks in the top 100.
Got a box full of Pepe.
To that point, one thing about the DJ, so I think the one potential downside to the DJ Chark signing is that the Lions don't take a wide receiver as early as we think they might, or as we think they should. And my biggest fear is that they're not going to take one early and they're going to miss out on George Pickens. I'm like,
I think
George Pickens is George Pickens. I think is now my preferred wide receiver.
I think they still might, because
I think they still should. I don't know.
Yeah, but if they're doing it in which, right? If Chark has a year, he can go. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like they know it's a serious need. So I'm hoping. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like if they knew it was a serious need, they wouldn't have re-signed Khalif Raymond. I know I may be in the minority there. I just feel like if they knew it was a need, they would not have re-signed Khalif.
Yeah. Love Khalif, but I totally agree with you.
But it's just
totally agree.
I think they did that as a backup in case Amon-Ra St. Brown gets hurt. I think that's what that
you could have taken. But like there are so many guys in this draft. Calvin Austin III, Sky Moore. You could have taken one of those guys, and those guys could have been Khalif Raymond.
But they're still taking a year to learn how to be a pro. I mean, it took Amon-Ra half the season. I would argue that Khalif Raymond learned how to be a pro last year because he hadn't really gotten any real. I agree, but he did learn. So he's a year ahead. I'm just saying. I'm with you. I'm torn.
I'm not. This was the one signing that like I was kind of like bummed about. I was kind of like, oh, like they re-signed him, and then to find out it was a 2. I mean, I don't know if it's like a fully guaranteed 2 years or if it's like they can get out after the second year. I was not happy to hear that it was a 2-year deal.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that.
Now, do we think his role is going to be mainly on special teams then? Or is that too much money for just a special teams guy?
No, he's got to be more than special teams.
I think they're going to try and get him in. They're going to try to get him in, right? They're going to try and do some gadget stuff with him. Mm-hmm. I just don't think. Again, I don't think Khalif is that dynamic. I think he at least has a guaranteed spot on special teams. Yes.
Did he throw a touchdown though?
Yes. I mean, but how many times are you going to do that this season?
How many times did Goff throw a touchdown?
Oh my God.
More? Isn't the answer still more?
Yeah, but how many more? Just saying.
Significantly more. If Khalif threw one.
Maybe they paid him for 2 years so he could be back up.
Oh my God. Then why'd they pay Tim Boyle?
If your backup quarterback is 5'8",
Boyle might be kicker. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, your backup quarterback.
If your backup quarterback is 5'8", we have serious problems. We have lost.
No, I'm joking around.
Scott's having fun.
Yes, I think that he is for sure a gadget player, and they're going to have, and I think that he must do that and ad lib really well for them to have him for different scenarios. So it sounds like we're going to continue doing these gadget plays and do some trickery. So it sounds like we're going to be doing more of that, which is fine as long as it works. Yeah. But he must be an asset in regards to that, right? That must be where he has provided, or Dan Campbell really needs him in that, right? They wouldn't have paid him if they didn't feel like they needed him for
this is something I wanted to throw back. I know I said before I go, but now I'm going to say this before I go.
Love it.
Because I wanted to throw it back to you. And it's something that we've touched on several times throughout the Lions season, is that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have proven to be men of their word. And they've had this mantra of, if you show out, we will find a place for you. Well, all of these guys showed out. So they are they kind of between a rock and a hard place here between I have to pay a guy like Khalif Raymond because he played his ass off last year and he showed out, and now I have to find a place for him, or I have to show my team that I don't mean what I say.
Well, and it's
a really solid point. It's good.
I think it goes back to my point, right? Like it kind of like you're putting yourself in an unnecessary hole. Like I know that you want to be that coach, and I know you want to be that GM. That's like, hey, if you do this, we will be men of our word.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like, how many times can you do that when that is going to put you in positions where you're not going to be able to bring guys in because that room is too crowded?
Exactly.
Right.
I think, go ahead.
What do you do? Like, what do you do if you have a bunch of receivers that you love, but you're like, man, okay, so now what do we do about drafting? Like, we have Josh Reynolds, we have DJ Chark, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quintez Cephas at least deserves an opportunity to come back and prove that he needs to be on this team. And then you have Trinity Benson and now Khalif Raymond. Somebody's going to lose a job. 2 or 3 of these guys are going to probably lose a job if you draft somebody. Because if you draft somebody and you draft them high, that guy's guaranteed a spot. So I agree with you. It's a really tricky situation. I think that they're kind of going to find themselves in. Maybe not this year, but probably down the road.
I think I'm with you. I agree. I think that Dan Campbell did and said anything he could to get buy-in. I'm not going to lie. And now he's got to eat. He's got to eat it because the guys did show up. And so you cannot I think that you're both right. I think we're all right here in this regard. But I think that Dan Campbell cannot go back on his word. He said, you guys buy in, you guys do this. Well, obviously you'll have a place here. So he did it. Now he's got to live up to it, right? And this is that season of like living up to it, which might well, from here on out, like Dan, you can't say that shit. You can't say. And so Holmes has to have a conversation with Dan Campbell of like, yo, Dan, you cannot say those things to the team. Like we can't.
Neither one of them can say it. Neither one of them, because Brad Holmes is guilty of saying it too. So neither one of you guys can say it.
They both need to pump the brakes because now they're paying a little bit of that piper of getting them to buy in and getting them to play above, to really ball out. I mean, and for them, I mean, that's cool and that's great. And I think that he giving these players the opportunity it's awesome. I mean, the whole idea and the whole concept of them giving these guys opportunity and some of these guys that weren't even, they were on the couch. I mean, that's awesome. I really love that. I think that the coaching staff is also a big part, like a huge part of this, and why these guys are able to do this is the coaching staff. So again, that's a good problem to have, except stop saying you're going to promise them like roster spots for guys that are because who's we're talking Lions good versus really good, right? Again, I think this is something. So Derry speaks on Locked On Lions is the way he puts is this guy just Lions good or is he really good? So Derry, which Meko, you're not going to like, but he thinks Walker is potentially just Lions good. Not like really.
I'll fight Derry in the streets over that one.
That's fine. And I agree with you, but it's like, and he just says, is he we don't know yet. We'll know this next season, but like Khalif Raymond is Lions good, right? We could say that he's like Lions.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Like, would you rather have Khalif Raymond or like Christian Watson?
Christian Watson.
Right.
And Christian Watson hasn't played a single down in the NFL. Give me Christian Watson.
Well, what I'm saying is let's hope Dan Campbell and Holmes are not going to get caught in the same cycle of Lions good, right? That's the problem. Yeah. And I think a good way to put Meko, what you're talking about is like the fear of getting caught in the cycle of Lions good shit, right? And like guys that are not top notch, but like good enough, like a DJ Chark, come and prove it. Okay. And they get really good and then leave. Like, are we going to be able to go from Lions good to really good? And I think this is Valenti's point in, sign fucking Deshaun Watson. And why are you not doing that like hard? And that's like, I mean, to me,
stupid.
I agree. No. But like, so Williams and Watson,
and Watson making that point. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Right. I know. So clicks. But Williams, but Williams, we went after, I'm just saying like, they have to make the move next season to make moves for big time players.
You win. You have a bit more favorable schedule. You win. You upgrade a little. Right. You raise the floor. You're not getting like your high ceiling guys are
the draft. Team,
you raise the floor.
5-win team, 6-win team.
Wins.
God forbid. John. God forbid we win 8 games because at 8 games is like if Jared Goff is giving us 8 wins, is that like does he stay now? Like if he's. I know, Meko. I know, but I don't want him. But like, one could argue, like, well, he won
8 out of 7. Yeah, but 8 out of 17, like, because you got to give him like a contract. Like, you can't just be like that's gonna be like 30 mil. And I'm not. I don't care
agree, but I'm just
unless Jared Goff is in the MVP conversation, I don't really feel comfortable giving Jared Goff 30 mil.
I'm just like, unless we have a top draft pick. And if we don't, like, are we trading up to get one? I mean, there's just so many variables. But anyway,
I would, yes.
But back to my point about Lions good, right? We gotta break the
cycle.
Thank you. So excited. So anyway, we got to break the cycle of being Lions good, and I think these are the guys to do it. But we're on the cusp of staying there, right? It feels like same old,
But again,
yeah. I mean,
we are only 30 hours into free agency, so
it's actually like not really official, correct?
Oh yes,
nothing is official until tomorrow.
So did you? And then last thing, did you hear about the guy? I forget who was it signed with Dallas, but then posted it, and then Broncos paid it more.
Yeah. Like, listen, that is my greatest fear with DJ Chark right now. That is my only fear with DJ Chark right now. I don't think he's that kind of guy. Just from like reading up on his personality and like his demeanor, I don't think he's that guy.
And and then based on what you said in his battle with mental health and like that type of like environment he wants, Detroit's his place. I mean, I think that really Detroit will be his place. And maybe if he's so happy, right? This is theoretically he's so happy he takes not a huge contract to extend for a couple years to stay, do a 2-year deal, little team friendly. Like, I love you guys, want to be here. Maybe.
Listen, the worst thing that could happen next year, not worse. It's like the worst thing that could happen next year is that DJ Chark drastically performs Christian Kirk. Because he's gonna be like, well, Christian Kirk got paid this.
Yeah.
So
Christian Kirk,
the number starts here.
No, fuck Jacksonville. Like, for real. Like, straight up. They can just go.
Bombs. I gotta edit out now.
That's like, but fuck Jacksonville.
Is that 4?
Yeah.
But no, I'll say this. I'll say this so we can get out of here.
There are a lot of people saying those 2 words all around the country right now.
Oh yeah,
agents,
I'm saying it like not
owners, coaches. A lot of people.
I'm definitely thinking.
Meko, can you just can we just put beeps on that? We're just gonna beep.
I mean, yeah, I still got it. Yeah, I'm gonna beep them. Just the fact that I got
there's a beep for you.
Appreciate it. No, one thing I will say, and we can kind of get out of here after this, is like I feel like either way,
I don't want to leave.
The Lions win. I'm sorry, but we kind of got to. I'm about to go to the gym late at night anyway, so I gotta get out of here.
Meko, the muscles.
But I will say this one way or the other: whether the Lions win a lot of games or they don't win a lot of games next year, they're gonna have to hit free agency and they're gonna have to get guys. Like if you don't win, then it proves that this model doesn't work. So you gotta go out and pay guys.
Next week, let's come back next week with guys that will be free agents next year. Let's take a look at that list. Let's go through this next week. I'm curious at who's a free agent next season.
Yeah, I think we can definitely do that.
Because I wonder if there's some actually, and that's, they maybe have a list of this and we don't, right in front of them, like, oh, all of these guys are free agents next year. Okay, we'll wait. I mean, I don't know. So we could look at that because that might be something they have in front of them that we don't have. But anyway, man, at least we got right now, knock on wood, DJ, we got a wide receiver.
We got a wide receiver. We kept our safety. We brought in some solid guys that performed last year well. So here's to hoping. Here's to hoping the rest of the free agency is a little more juicy.
Yeah,
juicy. That's where we're going with that. No. Okay.
Exciting sounded like lame. It didn't sound as questionable.
Juicy. I just think of those
juicy fruit commercials.
Yeah. Where it's like, oh, juicy. Anyway. That's all I got.
All right. Let's do our outro.
All right. Oh, Meko's ready to go. All right. Well, anyway, thank you again for listening in. Questionable Podcast. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We will also be in Royal Oak at 5th Avenue the 26th of March at 5:00 with Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux, and company, watching the 25th anniversary of the Fight Night at the Joe. And for those that don't know, that's a big ass fight that the Red Wings fought the Avs, and the Red Wings kicked butt, especially McCarty. Anyway, so again, I want to thank the crew, the fam, everybody for keeping with us, staying with us, supporting us, and again, forget my internet today, so forget you. You're a loser, but you guys are winners. Meko?
Yeah, definitely got to thank my wife, my kids, the entire family, everybody that's been super supportive of Questionable Tees and the Questionable Podcast. Also, be sure to keep an eye on questionabletees.com because the hoodies and t-shirts in this whole Game Over series will be dropping there. Keep an eye on our socials. We'll make sure to keep you guys posted on when they're actually live.
Gionne.
Thank you very much to my wife, who is in the next room. And also everyone who is listening to Scott's shout out there. Remember, Scotty Questions at the door. Scotty Questions at the door.
Scotty Questions at the door. He will pay for your ticket.
I will pay your entry. Scotty Questions is the passwords. Scotty Questions. All right. So thanks, John. That's so LA. And we'll have updated sound effects just for you next week. So
the door is so LA.
It's so LA. All right, everybody. Thank you again for listening in. This is the Questionable Podcast. Out.